A very pleasant morning, students. I hope you might have enjoyed the poem Animals. In the previous two classes, we have learnt about how faithful animals are. Animals are the noble or virtuous creatures on earth that we have already seen, and we also have seen the qualities of different kinds of animals. If we have seen the whole animal kingdom, we could understand what kind of qualities that we humans must learn from there. Let us come across lesson number 7, that's glimpses of India. When it comes to India's the map of India and whatever that you know about the history of India, you might be getting the images and you'll be thinking about the people of India. We are one, we have diversities in different areas of our living, but we all one. That unity in diversity can be seen with Indians, especially the people who live in India. What does it mean by glimpse? Glimpse means a short while of time to see or observe something. To look at or see something for a very short time. In a very short time, which you look at or something that you see is nothing but glimpse. Let us go through the glimpses of India. Under this, we have got some 3 sections of study. The first part is a baker from Goa. Second one is Cook, and third one is tea from Assam. First one is a baker from Goa. Bakers, you have seen, a baker, he makes cakes and all the confectionery items at bakery. A baker from Goa, that we'll see. When it comes to Goa, you'll be thinking about the nice sandy beaches and very good pubs, clubs, and also it's a largest city. This place is Goa's largest city is Vasco da Gama. The capital of Goa is Panaji or Panjim. In other words, we call it as Panjim. Goa is an island city. Goa Villa is famous for that, and it's India's smallest state, but its history is such a large and long, and it has got the diversity in all different kinds of its culture. Let us go through the lesson, a baker from Goa. Before you read, you need to do one activity. You have to discuss in class. You cannot discuss now, but you just think about and do little research work on the given questions. There are 4 different kinds of areas where you need to focus and do it. What images of people and of places come to your mind when you think of our country? When we think about our country, we think about our culture, our history, and what are the ethnic types of wearing clothes, ethnic wear, the dress, the culture, different places, language that we speak, and the places of visit. Okay, all these images would come to your mind when you think about the places in our country or nation. What parts of India have you lived in or visited? We live in southern part of India now, and we also visited some North Indian places, especially each year we are planning to go to excursion or study tour. There you come across many places. Those are especially we prefer to go to North Indian places because those places are best for sightseeing, and some areas that we have just heard about it in our lessons of history, but we haven't been there. That's why we prefer to go to North India much. And when it comes to South India, Tamil Nadu and Kerala are the best places to visit. Let us come. Can you name some popular tourist destinations? Kodaikanal, okay, Ooty, and many other places are there, especially hill stations. We prefer to go to hill stations. We South Indians would like to go to hill stations because there the climate is so cool, and you prefer to stay there for long time, at least 2 to 3 weeks of long destination points. Actually, we wanted to visit and enjoy our time. Third one, you may know that apart from British, The Dutch and the French, the Portuguese have also played a part in the history of our country. Can you say what parts of India show French and Portuguese influences? So we live in Kakinada, Andhra Pradesh, East Godavari, and very close to our place there is Yanam. Okay, the French people have touched that place, and Yanam and Pondicherry, these places are being connected to Tamil Nadu, and these are the coastal areas. Especially these Britishers have landed in coastal areas because they used to come by waterways. Okay, all the waterways, especially all the coastal areas, are being touched by the Britishers, and these Portuguese and French people have visited most of the areas which are good for trading and business. Okay, their main purpose of touching these coastal areas, because they can make a move very easily, they prefer to come by these waterways. Next one, can you say which parts of India grow tea and coffee? Especially tea and coffee are grown well in Assam. Okay, and most of the places in northern India, and mostly northern India, we can see these coffee plantations and tea plantations. Okay, you can write all these questions as a homework. Afterwards I'll give you, because before we get into the lesson, doing a warm-up exercise or an activity is very essential to learn the lessons. In order to get a good grip over the lesson, we need to do this activity. Let us come to the lesson, A Baker from Goa. This is a pen portrait of traditional Goan village baker who still has an important place in his society. Goans have a very good traditional way of making or baking cakes and other confectionery items. Okay, this lesson is written by Lucio Rodriguez. Rodriguez, Rodrigues. Lucio Rodriguez is the writer of A Baker from Goa. Let us go through. It's a pen portrait of a traditional Goan village baker. He was a traditional baker who still has an important place in society. Okay, still in Goan society, bakers have an important role to be played. Okay, they play a major role in society. Still, they are given much importance in society. Our elders are often heard reminiscing nostalgically about those good old Portuguese days, and the Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread. Those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. Especially the elders of Goan culture, they often heard about reminiscing nostalgically, thinking fondly of something. They always think about something good or something that can be more fond of. They're fond of the past days, especially Portuguese. The people Portuguese days, those days are called or known as Portuguese days, because Portuguese people have started living in Goa and they are accustomed to eat these loaves of bread. The loaf of bread. Loaf is singular, loaves is plural. Loaf, L-O-A-F, loaves, L-O-A-V-E-S. Okay, loaf is singular, loaves is plural. The loaves of bread they used to eat, which was made by the bakers of Goa. They're experts in making bread. Okay, and those eaters of loaves were gone away. Okay, they might have vanished. So nowadays nobody is eating much bread, but still there is a traditional way of baking bread can be seen in Goa. The good eaters are none other than the Portuguese people. The people, those who have come from French and Portuguese, they used to eat this bread, and they also taught the local Goans how to make the bread so tasty. Okay, making bread or baking bread is it's a kind of usual activity with Goans, but how to make this bread or how to bake this bread in a very tasty way, okay, was being taught by Portuguese, and they were accustomed to eat the bread baked by Govans. Those eaters of loaves were vanished, means disappeared, but the makers are still there. Makers or bakers of Goa are still there, but the Portuguese population or the Portuguese native Portuguese were gone or vanished with the time. And we still have amongst us the mixers, molders, and those who bake the loaves. Especially in order to make the loaf of bread, certain kinds of molds are required, mixtures are required. In order to make or knead that flour, they need to have mixtures, okay, in order to mix that powder or flour. And the molders in which they make the shape or they get the shape of the bread, those molders and those who bake the loaves. Those age-old time tested furnaces still exist. The old type of furnaces are still there in Goa. The old style of making or baking that big furnaces, please underline the word furnaces, vanished, Portuguese, mixtures, molders, loaves. The molders are there, mixers are there, furnaces were there still in Goa, which they have got it from Portuguese. They are still existing. Disappeared, existing. Vanished, opposite is exist. Vanish means disappear. Exist means still they are there. There's those age-old means very old type of furnaces were there. They are not modern furnaces, okay. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. See, the fire in the furnaces were not been extinguished. Extinguished means stopped. They are still start getting the blaze. They are on fire. The thud and jingle of the traditional baker's bamboo. Actually, the Goan bakers used to hold one stick-like thing, which is a bamboo stick consisting some tingles and jingles to it. The thud means once they'll just beat it on the floor, and sometimes they'll just wave it so that the jingles which are attached to that bamboo stick used to make a kind of sound, so that the kids, the small little children, those who are staying at home, they used to hear that ringing bells and come out of their houses and buy those bread loaves, okay. Heralding his arrival. Heralding means announcement. It's a kind of announcement. Herald means announce, okay. These Goan bakers used to come to the streets in order to, okay, sell out the loaves of the bread, and small little kids, those who are there at home, used to hear the jingles or the thud of that bamboo stick and run out of their houses, and they used to buy those loaves of bread. And heralding his arrival in the morning can still be heard in some places. At present, in modern days also, these old bakers, how they used to sell out the loaves of bread, okay, can be seen in some of the places of Goa still. Still in some lanes and streets of Goa can hear the bells or thud or the jingles of this bamboo. So this is an indication that the baker or the seller of the bread or the seller of the loaves of bread had come out. Okay, he is there in the street so that they can come out of their houses and buy those loaves. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. It's a family profession. Maybe a father of this buyer or this baker was the baker in those days, and who has taken up that profession. Next to him, the father's profession, the family profession is being passed to the next generation, and now the son is started selling out these loaves of bread. These bakers are even today known as padder in Goa. What do they call this baker? Padder. So here three things you can understand. The molds, mixers and the age-old furnaces are still existing in Goa. Secondly, he used to come into the streets in order to sell out those loaves of bread by making the jingling sound of his bamboo, and also he used to make the thud. He produces the thud of the sound, okay, the sound of thud on the ground so that the people can hear and come out. It's a kind of heralding. It's an announcement that he is available to everyone. Next one is, father once upon a time he was a padder. Now that padding job has come to whom? To the next generation, that is none other than his son. Let us come to the next paragraph. During our childhood in Goa, who is speaking to us? Who is I here? Who is narrating these incidents? Who is narrating all these past experiences or the glimpses of the past to us? That is Lucio Rodriguez, the writer of this, or the narrator, or the author of this lesson. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend. Who was the friend of children? Baker or the padder was the friend of them. Companion and guide. Friend, companion and guide. Companion means a person, one who closely move with. Friend means being friendly. Guide means one who guides. There are three words used to narrate the padder. The padder was being the friend of kids, and he was also a very good companion, and he was also a guide. He used to come at least twice a day. How many times he comes? He comes twice a day. Early in the morning he comes once, and maybe at what time he comes once we will see. Once when he set out in the morning on his selling round, and then again. First round is in the morning, second round maybe in the afternoon. When he returned after emptying his huge basket, the jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep. Actually, the jingling sound and the thud of this bamboo stick make the children get awake from their sleep. Until then they would be on their beds. Means the early hours in the morning, he'll make a visit. The padder makes a visit early in the morning, and once his basket is got empty, while going also he makes that sound. Okay. And why was it so? Was it for the love of the loaf? Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Paskin or Bastin, the maid servant of the house. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. He is not only selling out the loaves, he also sells out the bread bangles. Okay. The servant maid used to. Why was it so? Because was it for the love of the loaf? They have a great love towards the loaf. Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Paskin or Bastin. Paskin or Bastin in the sense the maid at home used to buy the bread bangles which they really like them a lot. They choose what kind of bread loaves that they like to have them. The bread bangles very carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. Sometimes he is also making sweet bread which children like to eat much. Okay. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. So what is the special make of the padder? Sweet bread. Sometimes he brings that bread bangles, and usually he gets the bread loaves or the loaves of bread. The remaining part of a baker from Goa will be continued in the next class. Until then, goodbye. Please take care.